Well, I was excited to see that at least for right now, it looks like 4 out of my 5 picks for the remaining 5 standing were actually correct, so 80%'s good. One Piece, chapter 273, Quintet.
Well, I was almost right. Well, of course, it's not over yet, but... Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the tantalizing, epic, clairvoyant-like tale of One Piece. Our last chapter, of course, ended up with, Enel pretty much just going in and bringing down the upper part of that giant jack with the runes and everything, and kind of just having everything crash down into where he and Robin were down below, buried into where Shandora is, basically buried under the clouds in Upper Yard. So that's kind of how things left off. All of a sudden, everything started coming down. We know that, of course, Luffy and Aisa, Nami, Pierre, and Ganfal are inside of the giant snake, the ruler of the sky. We know that that Zoro is still alive, that Chopper, of course, is knocked out. We know that Robin's all good. Anyway, they're just, everybody's kind of spread out, and this is just sort of bringing everybody down back together for the the finale of his little wicked, crazy 3-hour game that he's got going on here. So the chapter goes, that's where it leaves off, and really that's where it picks up. It shows us everybody inside the actual snake, and it's cool because Nami goes and she's using the opportunity as the snake's starting to kind of fall. They don't know that. They just know that all of a sudden they're just going to try to get out of there, right? So she got the waiver going, and she's like, all right, everybody, hold on, let's go, right? Ganfal's on Pierre, and she's assuming that, that Luffy and Aisa will be holding on, and I guess Luffy, either Luffy or Aisa, one of them goes and grabs on right as she's starting to go, and they're like, oh no, it's the exhaust pipe. So obviously it's hot. They can't hold on to it. They go flying back, Luffy and Aisa do. And she's going, Nami's flying forward on the waiver. Ganfal, of course, is flying out on Pierre. They're trying to get out the mouth of this thing. And then Ganfal goes and kind of jumps out and off of Pierre and is like, go back and get those two, And, so Pierre gets sent back to get them. Obviously, Luffy and Aisa did not make it, at least at this point. And Nami and Ganfal come flying out, and they're like, whoa! And it's like, it's much steeper than we thought, because obviously they're falling down, And whether it's a few hundred feet or a half a mile, it doesn't matter. You're still falling a great distance, So it winds up as everybody's kind of falling down and whatnot, and we see, Zoro and of course, Wyper and all that stuff. It winds up, everybody starts crashing down in big hunks of things, and you get Robin, and she's just like, sees these big hunks of runes coming down, and she's like, what, was there runes up there too? I mean, she had no idea what's going on, because remember, she never went up. She, dug down, read the hieroglyphs, and obviously used her instincts from there, and her archaeological skills, I guess you'd call them, and that's where she wound up, and Enel, of course, is there, and his game is almost up. So we kind of see everybody, and it's really funny because Zoro goes and gets up, and he's just like, and Robin's like, swordsman, hey, are you all right? Are you hurt? And he's like, I almost died. And she's like, yeah, you should have if you were normal. And I just thought that was funny because I just talked recently about how Zoro is a take a licking and keep on ticking type of guy. Man, he is just, he's dripping blood, and he's got cuts and scars everywhere. It doesn't matter. You could cut Zoro's goddamn head off, and as long as he could find it, he'd hold it with one hand and go into battle until he could get it sewn back on, So at least that's the type of character that I see, just committed and driven, and not so much like Luffy with that singular focus, because he's very much a soldier in the sense that he listens to his captain, and listens obviously, to whatever he says, at least has so far, even when Luffy has made some questionable choices. So he's very much a soldier in that sense. But like I said, he is it's very much a laser-like vision of to where he's got to go and what he's got to get done, and his focus is, if I cannot get it done right now, I just have to become a stronger so I can do that. You know what I mean? There's never like somebody else is going to have to do this. I'm just not strong enough. I can't. There is no can't in Zoro's vocabulary. And I really like that. I really think it's, I think it's great, It's having that character that just has that indomitable will and strength. So anyway, so as everybody, and I just got a little sidetracked over there, but I thought it was funny. So as everybody's kind of going and standing up, and then we see Wyper, and he stands up, and he's just like, and this is the first time I actually didn't mind him too much, because he's kind of in awe of the runes of Shandora. Could this be my homeland? That type of thing. And he's got this big old wide-eyed wonderment thing, and he's actually not trying to attack anybody and everybody who is around him for one moment in his life. And I think that's good because honestly, you know, regardless of whether you think that that the guy's ignorant or small-minded or unopen to suggestions or just, you know, that's just he was raised in that type of way and that's all he knows is war and fighting everybody. Sometimes, actually, really, everybody needs somebody sometimes. You know, they really do. Sometimes you will need help from somebody. You cannot play. I've tried playing lone wolf before, man. I'm telling you, it never works out in the long run. Sometimes you do need to lean on somebody. You do need to ask somebody else for something. You do need to temporarily ally yourself with somebody or align, you know, because your goals align at the time. And sometimes you do need to reach out and trust somebody a little bit. You know, you cannot fight the whole world and win. And that's really, I think, where my distaste comes from for Wyper. Not because of the character itself, because I know many people were very, you know, defending my opinion and then defending the other side of things. And listen, I don't hate Wyper at all. I see some of myself at a certain point in my life in him, and I didn't like that part of me in that point in my real life, you know. And I tried to do away with that because that lone wolf attitude does not get you anywhere. You really do need to rely on others, and you need to have others in your life as opposed to just pushing everybody away and fighting everybody, you know. So that's kind of where my whole thing from Wyper comes in. So I'm done with that rant now. We'll get back to the chapter at hand. So as everybody's starting to kind of gather and get their shit together over here, it winds up being as the snake comes down, Aisa and Luffy get kind of knocked back with Pierre. They're not able to actually get out. And Aisa's like, what the hell? That's, you know, and Luffy's like, oh, no, it's okay. We'll just call it the bunghole, right? And Aisa's like, no, we're not doing that, you know. And then he's like, the bird came back for us. And Luffy's like, and Luffy says something about the horse, you know. And he's like, it's a bird. And then the Aisa's like, it's a bird. You know, and Luffy's funny because obviously it is a horse, you know, but I love how Luffy addresses people. Hey, old guy. Hey, guy with mustache. Hey, bird, horse thingy, you know. So, hey, horse that's sometimes a bird. Anyway, so they're trapped inside there for the time being. Enel goes and is just tired of seeing the snake going and whipping around and everything. And then somebody notices, too, that the snake is crying. And I don't know what the deal is. Snake starts freaking out. Snake's crying. I don't know if it has something to do with it's like was maybe the protector of Shandora or something. And it sees it in runes, or I'm not really sure. But I want to make note of that the snake was crying. That they noticed that. And Enel goes and just El Thor, you know, it says, and he just goes and brings down, you know, like Thor from the heavens, just lightning and just shocks the shit out of the snake, puts it down. Wyper's like, oh man, you know, shots from my burn bazooka didn't even put a dent or a scratch on it, and he just took that thing out like nothing. And then he's like, comes to the realization that Aisa's probably dead in there, you know. And I think otherwise. I think Luffy probably was able to protect Aisa because of the fact that he's rubber, but we don't know yet. So anyway, point being is that the snake is down now, right? Because Enel's like, I'm just tired of you, ruler of the sky, just, you know. So then Enel goes and tells everybody about this game that he's playing. Now, keep in mind that there's 6 people left, though. There's Enel, there is Wyper, there's Ganfal, there is Zoro and Robin, so that's 5 right there. And then Nami also is there, but Nami thinks she hasn't been seen yet by him. So he goes and talks about this game and how he predicted that in 3 hours, once everybody entered, the game started, and 3 hours later it was going to end. It's just sort of some fun that I was doing. But I predicted, you know, the god here predicted that 5 would be left standing. I'm in the game too. He makes that clear, which I thought to begin with. But anyway, so that's the rules of the game. But then he goes, and you see those 4 standing there, of course, that I mentioned. Nami is hiding and thinks she hasn't been seen yet. And she's like, oh, God, I'm the 6th, you know. And then all of a sudden he goes and he's like, so there's 3 minutes left in the game, and when the time limit's up, there cannot be 6. And nobody really says anything, but Nami's still trying to hide, you know, because she doesn't want to be discovered. So he goes, which one will it be? Will one of you take the other one out, or will I have to choose one, or whatever? So it's kind of funny, because this is the first time you see them all sort of standing shoulder to shoulder. Zoro and Robin obviously are teammates. Wyper, though, hasn't really been playing ball as a teammate, and Ganfal kind of does with the Straw Hats, and has attempted to with Wyper, but Wyper's always, you know, just kind of pushed him away. So those 4 are standing there, and as they're talking a little bit amongst them, they're like, I don't want to. Nobody's going to give themselves up, right? All of a sudden, in unison, they all look up at Enel, and they're just like, how about you? And he's like, that's not a good prediction, and this and that. So he goes, I'll choose one, or it'll be you, and we don't know who it is, right? And then that's when the chapter goes, and if I remember correctly here, that's where the chapter winds up ending, which really bothers me, because you get all this goodness. Jesus, you know, I always lose my place, and I apologize about that. But you get the 4 of them standing there, and this is right where they said, they're like, you're the one who should disappear. And I just thought it was, here, we'll hold that up there for just a sec for those of you that don't follow along online or whatever, you know, and just like to see me dancing like a monkey for 10 minutes. Anyway, and then he just goes, a bad choice. So he actually didn't say anything. I was assuming that for some reason I thought that he pointed and said to somebody, but I guess that was wrong. So my chapter question, though, is ultimately, where does everybody stand on where their predictions were? Now, out of the 6 that are left, I don't know who's going to drop, but I got some of them right. I said Enel, which obviously it looks like he's going to. I said Wyper, and I still think he's going to. He's going to be one of them. And then I said Robin. I said Nami. And so those are 2 that are still in the game. I did not say Zoro. I said Luffy. And then I don't think I said Ganfal. Yeah, I didn't say Ganfal. So Ganfal I wasn't predicting. So I don't know who's going to wind up going down, but I guess my chapter question is, who do you think is going to go down of the 6 remaining? Because he says that the prophecy is almighty and it has to come true because it's from the god, you know. So that is my chapter question. Where were your predictions at? I know a lot of people put them a couple chapters ago. Where do they match up now? And who do you think out of the 6 remaining is going to go down to make the prophecy come true and have there only be 5? 5 jazz hands. All right. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you think that I deserve it. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. I don't know what I'm doing with this. Damn it, you gotta work together with my freaking brain. We look forward to catching all of you in the next Fun Nation.
If you're a fan of tight bikini tops, pinwheels, or tangerines, go on over to my Facebook or Instagram page and check them out.